Reader beware, you choose the scare. Detroit Become Human is an interactive DVD menu from the creators of Lion King 1.5 Virtual Safari.
Okay, which way, folks? You get to choose.
Take on the role of 3 sexy androids and become human by pressing buttons when they appear to take out the trash, slap Mr. Krabs, and undress a little kid.
Open up, Detroit Police!
But be careful.
If you can't keep up,
You become the victim of domestic violence.
you lose!
You blew it. My turn.
Witness the terrifying crimes against humanity real-life people are still suffering from be reimagined as something that happens to $900 computers in the future. It's got allegories for all of history's wackiest moments. Slavery, segregation, Hillary Clinton, and if you look close, you might catch a subtle nod to the Holocaust.
Man, that looks easy.
But it's not! Stop it.
But this isn't a review of Detroit Become Human, except it kind of is because watching it and playing it are almost the exact same thing. Okay, I admit that intro was kind of harsh. Become Human is actually an extraordinary piece of work and easily the most unique video game we've reviewed so far.
More and more androids show signs of deviancy. There are millions in circulation. If they become unstable, the consequences will be disastrous.
I just can't resist making fun, because when you break it down, it's basically the world's most advanced choose-your-own-adventure about the world's most sensitive subject matter, told through the world's most inappropriate use of whack-a-mole.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And I know, interactive film is a niche genre of gaming that's been around for a long time, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but honestly, whoever drank a cup of Dragon's Lair and said, you know what this needs? A splash of racism. Yet somehow it kind of works?
My name is Marcus. And just like you, I was a slave.
I'm fascinated and impressed that Quantic Dream was able to start a discussion about civil rights and social inequality that looks like this.
No, I hate this overpriced bullshit!
However, Detroit fills the entire spectrum of video game quality, from state-of-the-art to what were they thinking, which is why I'm organizing this review into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good. Right away, the game is like, wow, with those graphics.
Before we begin, let's make some adjustments to optimize
I'm turned
the
on.
experience.
She uses Glossier for sure. This looks so real that our dogs check behind the TV for Scarlett Johansson. And that's just the main menu. The in-game visuals are even more spectacular. Never before has a game aroused the same feeling I get from hyper-realistic oil paintings.
My mind's telling me no.
But my eyeballs are telling me yes. They're amazing because they're fake. And if I revealed that this corn you're staring at was actually just a photograph, you'd be like,
Get that corn out of my face!
which is why something as ordinary as the ground is a work of art in Become Human. But it's not just the masterful modeling, texturing, and lighting that sells it. It's the way materials interact with the weather, such as a tie flailing below its clip. It's the way characters interact with the environment, such as stepping over clutter or dodging that guy's burrito. It's the minutia we see in our everyday lives that our subconscious recognizes as reality, and Quantic Dream was meticulous in bringing it to a virtual Detroit. But the real star of the show is the stars of the show. It's got Spider-Man as Agent Connor, Mr. Krabs as Lieutenant Krabs, Grey's Anatomy as MLK2 Electric Boogaloo, and Armie Hammer reprises his role as the Winklevoss twins. The performances are mesmerizing and make the character-driven scenes where you navigate personal relationships the best part of the game.
Oh my god.
The Agent Connor, Mr. Krabs storyline is what I consider proof of concept for interactive film.
I was the head chef on the SS Diarrhea.
If the entire game was just the buddy cop story, trying to win over your partner with dialogue options and solving crimes that kindle your own existential turmoil, all while balancing protocol and morality, I'd be like,
That's all you had to say.
unfortunately, the unsatisfactory gamification and big-picture, world-changing plot prevent it from achieving the excellence that either film or video games are capable of. Which brings us to the bad. This game kinda sucks. I get that QuickTime events and button prompts are supposed to be immersive. They aren't. They are a dull, cheap excuse for gameplay and a visual distraction during the climax of almost every mission. Doing this, instead of watching the movie, is the opposite of immersive. Even worse than QuickTime events are what I call stop-time events. This is when they literally just pause the scene you're watching until you press whatever buttons will unpause it. If you went to see a movie and it was like, hold up a minute, gotta press down on a stick real quick, hold up a minute, gotta wiggle the controller, hold up a minute, right foot blue, you'd be like,
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
It's a superfluous misuse of interactivity by the industry leaders of interactive film. And frankly, I'm worried they're having an identity crisis or something.
I'm not a game.
not quite a movie.
Hey Quantic, you don't gotta slap so many buttons on your movie, bro. You don't gotta pretend to be a game for me to love you, bro. Your dialogue trees and graphical fire are enough for me. I love you, but...
Get that cone out of my face!
Alright, now buckle up, cause here comes the ugly. Detroit Become Human is one of the worst examinations of artificial intelligence I've ever seen. It barely explores the philosophical debates and ethical dilemmas that make the topic so provocative. Instead, it essentially all boils down to,
what is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
And
Like the guardian!
make no mistake, this game is not about androids, it's about race. There are no thought experiments about the ambiguity of sentience, the nature of consciousness, or even the technological singularity. In place of scientific and ideological rationales for why machines deserve equal rights,
does this unit have a soul?
are tone-deaf, in-your-face references to actual human suffering. Remember the back of the bus?
I know what that is!
Remember I Have a Dream?
I clapped when I saw it.
Remember Auschwitz?
Oh my god!
I'm all for having political discourse in video games, and an interactive film in which a player's choice has permanent consequences could be a groundbreaking way to teach empathy.
It broke new ground!
But Detroit's historical plagiarisms felt like lazy world building at best and exploitive pandering at worst. I just wasn't convinced these spooky ass Roombas are safe, dog. They climbing in your windows, they snatching your people up. And even if they are legitimate sentient beings who experience reality subjectively and not just programmed to appear that way, then one day they're gonna look back on us the same way we look at Neanderthals.
An upright ape living in dust with crude language and tools, all set for extinction.
So the game fails to deliver on the promise made right in the title. Just because a bunch of walking, talking Amazon Alexas pander to your guilt by singing a slave song doesn't mean they've become human and you can put down your weapons. But that was the hilarious, cringy conclusion to our story and how the robot holocaust was brought to an end.
Everything will be
I know I've been hard on this game and more analytical than my usual reviews, but this is a 10 out of 10 must-play experience in my opinion, even if the overall quality is like a 3. I consider Quantic Dreams the absolute best at story permutations and hyper-realistic physics-based graphics. However, they are one of the absolute worst at gameplay. It's my opinion that if they fully committed to making an interactive narrative experience and abandoned game design altogether, they could make something legendary. Imagine the water cooler conversations about Breaking Bad if your recap of last night's episode was a personal story. It wouldn't need ham-fisted social commentary to tell you how to feel. It wouldn't need Mission Impossible set pieces or sky-high stakes. It would just need one character whose dialogue and decisions are guided by your own beliefs and morals, so that when the story ends, they're lying in the bed you made.
Guess I got